This will be an overview of the history of the Department of Correctional Services.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Prior to the 25th of April 1975, the roles and the functions of the Department of Correctional Services were under three entities: the Jamaica Prison Services, the Probation Services, and approved schools. The Prison Services is the oldest of the three, with its genesis being a response to the growing crime problem post-emancipation. Early prisons, such as the then St. Catherine District Prison, were holding areas for slaves and therefore proved to be ready-made penal institutions following the abolition of slavery because they were designed to prevent escape. Approved schools were established out of the recognition that children had to be treated in separate environments from their adult counterparts. These institutions were operated largely by the Salvation Army and other friendly societies to provide skills training and life skills to help with the children's rehabilitation. The Probation Services in Jamaica also had its beginning with the Salvation Army. Before 1946, there was no proper probation system, despite the Probation of Offenders Law being in operation from 1909. Offenders who were sentenced under that law was placed under the care of Salvation Army officers. However, by the early 1940s, the government of Jamaica concluded that a proper system was needed. In 1944, Mr. Odell Fleming was sent to England to receive formal training in probation services, and in October of 1946, Mr. E. John Montgomery, an experienced probation officer in England, was engaged by the government as a chief probation officer with the mandate to set up the service and train officers. He was joined in January of 1947 by Mr. Fleming, who assumed duties as senior probation officer. After 4 years of service, Mr. Montgomery returned home to England, leaving the expansion of the probation services to the locals. Before amalgamation, the Jamaica Prison Services had 8 prisons under its management. These were the General Penitentiary, the St. Catherine District Prison, Tamarind Farm, Richmond Farm, Fort Augusta, and the Hilltop Prison, which then operated as a young prison for males between the ages of 18 and 21. The Guncourt Prison, now the South Camp Rehabilitation Center, which was established a year before amalgamation in 1974, and the Female Prison. The Female Prison was first located in Manchonil, Portland, but was relocated in 1845 to a newly built 100-woman cell block at the General Penitentiary. There were several approved schools across the island, many of which had between 10 and 15 wards. As a result, only the 4 approved schools that later formed part of the Department of Correctional Services will be mentioned in this video. These were the Rio Cobre approved school, Stony Hill, Armadale, and Lower Esher approved school. On the other hand, the Probation Services managed cases island-wide through 4 offices located in Kingston, Spanish Town, Montego Bay, and Port Maria. The island was also regionalized into the Northern Circuit, which included Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. The Eastern Circuit, inclusive of St. Thomas, Portland, St. Mary, and St. Anne. And the Western Circuit, which had the parishes of St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester, with the main office serving Kingston and St. Andrew. In 1950, each circuit had 1 probation officer, while the main office had 2. However, by the end of 1972, each circuit had an average of 11 probation officers per region. The operations of the 3 entities had separate costs, and in many instances, each was duplicating services offered by the others. The conclusion then was that a merger would address this situation. That is when the Jamaica Prison Services, Probation Services, and approved schools became one entity, the Department of Correctional Services. However, the amalgamation was not just about a name change. A new name was necessary to communicate the new thrust and philosophies that would guide its operation. But the new entity was a radically transformed organization. By the late 1960s, the Jamaican government realized that it was lagging behind accepted international standards of treating with offenders. The world was moving away from an emphasis on retribution and punishment, and the amalgamation represented Jamaica's move to catch up. It was now about correction, and the Offender Management Service was rebranded to show this. The name changes were facilitated by Section 86 of the Corrections Act of 1985. Prison officers were now correctional officers, and probation officers became probation aftercare officers. The prisons also had name changes. The General Penitentiary became the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center, while the others saw prison being removed from their names and replaced by Adult Correctional Center. In 1975, the St. Jago Correctional Center for Women was established to accommodate female inmates who were held separately at the General Penitentiary. However, in 1988, the women were relocated to the Fort Augusta Adult Correctional Center, and to accommodate this, the male inmates were transferred to other correctional centers. The approved schools became juvenile correctional centers, with Stony Hill becoming a remand center for boys, and Hilltop Prison was reclassified as a juvenile correctional center. The idea of amalgamation was not welcomed by many staff because of uncertainties that come with such action. However, their fears quickly dissipated, as it proved beneficial to staff and offenders alike. In keeping with the departure from the punitive approach to rehabilitation, the government abandoned quarry mining by inmates. The mining of aggregates was previously done by inmates from the General Penitentiary and the St. Catherine District Prison, at the Rockford Quarry and the St. Catherine Quarry, where the Quarry Hill community now sits. The impetus to introduce rehabilitation programs to offenders required improvement in the staff's education and training. This brought with it improved salary packages, and the structural changes in the organization also provided additional administrative positions, thereby increasing the prospects of promotion.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment below. Remember to like and share the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. Follow me on social media and check out the suggested videos on screen. This is Teach saying, until next time, walk good, my friends.